We're going to start off with our market update. We do this market update every seminar. It's a little bit different than previous months because we're starting to see a change in total sales. In the last 6 months, we've seen sales year over year down 16 to 20%. That's the sales volume, the number of units sold in the Calgary market. So far, in the first third of July, we're seeing a positive number in the sales. So we're beating July of 2024. Average price is also a lot healthier than it has been the last couple of months. If you look at highlighted down here on the average price line, last month, sales were up almost 4%. But if you look at the first third of this month, the month of July, we're already up over 11%. So we're starting to see a bit of a turn in that. I'm thinking that people are getting over the shock of the Trump tariffs around here, and they're starting to get back into the market again, starting to get to a more normal market.
Yeah, and so one thing about this average price here being where it is, and not only that, let's talk about the active listings. You could see that there's close to 7,000 listings. Now, what that does for a buyer, we were out with Brandon, who was on his 5th purchase this weekend through us over the years. He was a young guy that came to us. They were renting when they met us, I think, Tiffany and Brandon.
Yeah, they were.
And actually house hacked his way up and then we showed him how to do a couple of joint ventures. So they bought 4 properties and now they've bought their dream home. They just refinanced something like $175,000 out of the first property and using that as a deposit on their dream home in Nolan Hill. And so what it looks like when you have this much inventory, we went and looked at four comparable properties up there, just below the $1 million range. And he ended up hitting a home run. All of them were priced roughly the same, but the one we chose, it came with so many upgrades, over $50,000 worth of upgrades. It had the Dura deck, 2-tiered deck in the backyard. It had a sprinkler system. It had landscaping, a fence. It had Douglas Hunter blinds. I think that's roughly a $10,000 package. It had gemstone lighting, which is the Christmas lights that you see that are built into the soffits. That is roughly like $4,500. It had epoxy flooring in the garage with all the shelving. That alone is around $5,000. So all of these upgrades, no other house, Tim, that we looked at had any of these upgrades, and it had a finished basement.
Yeah.
So of course we went with that property, and we didn't even overpay. We actually got a good deal.
And as of note, we got a 20 grand under the list price.
Yeah. So you know what? At the end of the day, when you have this type of inventory, it's beautiful because the buyer now has a choice. They don't have to go into multiple offers, and the home can be move-in ready with all the dream upgrades that you want in a house anyway. Yeah. So that's what it looks like in a market like this. It is a very good time to buy. We still feel we're well under where Calgary should be as an average when you look at bigger cities, and people are still moving here. So, and not only that, they're investing here. So they believe in the Calgary market. So we're very excited to see what happens, Tim, for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, and so that's the first third of this month. We're going into the summer, and we rarely see increases going into the summer. Usually May and June were the peak of the bell curve, and we start to go down a little bit in price all the way down to the Christmas season, then it starts to come back up. But you know, because of what's been happening internationally, our market hasn't been normal for quite some time. So we're going to keep an eye on it and keep everybody informed, and we'll let you know where it's going. But like Azad said, it is a really good time to buy. And if you have a decent property and you have to sell it, it's a good time to sell it as well. Normally our real estate investment mortgage specialist, Danielle DeMarco, comes on. Because it is Stampede time, she loves all the cowboy stuff and the rodeos and all that. Yeah. So we won't see her for 10 days until the Stampede's over. But her contact info is there. She specializes in getting real estate investment or investors the right mortgage for the right properties, whether they're refinancing, whether they're buying a new one. So take down her contact info if you need to ask her a question or get a second opinion as opposed to what your bank is going to do for your mortgage. So that's our market update for this week.